Someone just got mind flared.
Your former life was in a bliss of ignorance, until you've awakened to the darkness waiting on the doorstep of our fragile dimension. Something terrible left its eons-old slumber, and the reality, as we knew it, collapsed. The city of Arkham was pulled to somewhere not of this world, and its residents are in the shadows of true terror. As a survivor of this catastrophe, you should investigate the strange occurrences in the city and survive the rising darkness, physically and mentally, if possible.
Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry, and this is a nice new game I've been waiting for a very long time. I was trying to avoid the double four and couldn't work out a way to do it there. Called Stygian. In fact, its full name is, and apparently, yeah, it does like cutting out the sound there when I do that. That's interesting. Stygian, Reign of the Old Ones. And this is a Call of Cthulu game. Yes, I know. I still haven't finished the previous Call of Cthulu game I began playing on the channel, and I will get back to it at some point. But for now, I've been quite excited about this one for a number of reasons. Now, I don't usually get excited about Call of Cthulu stuff because I have a bit of a mixed history with it, right? But when I do want to enjoy it or share it, I'm going to enjoy it, right? I'm going to dive in, have some fun. Now, back in the day, when Games Workshop actually supported multiple kinds of games, including role-playing games, and even including games published by other companies, there was a time when White Dwarf was more of a magazine and less of a glorified catalogue. Before it's more of a magazine now, so it went from magazine to, well, it went from fanzine-ish magazine to glorified catalogue, then started again from issue 1, somehow, ignoring the 300 and something previous issues as if they didn't exist and tried to pretend they didn't, as a catalogue, and then evolved into an actual magazine again. So it's been through some interesting stuff. Anyway, back in the day, originally, in its almost original format, there were many role-playing games for which White Dwarf would put out monthly adventures or supplementary material. And one of the most supported role-playing games they put out material for, it wasn't RuneQuest. I mean, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay came a close second, but one of the most heavily supported games they put out stuff for was Call of Cthulu. And at the time, what did I know about Cthulhu? Well, apparently the impression I got was Cthulhu was horror, but not normal horror, and the reason it wasn't normal was because the monsters were different, and they weren't your normal horror monsters like vampires and werewolves and zombies and skeletons and ghosts and witches and stuff. You know, no. These things had tentacles, which apparently made them even more scary, although I didn't understand how. It's just a different kind of monster, you know. And they were also apparently aliens, which also apparently made them even more scary. Again, I was just like, okay, it's a kind of monster. I don't get it, but fine. And they were all existing in our boring everyday world that we live in as as a youngster. And that's actually the part that's supposed to be really scary, the part that, yeah, our humdrum existence of everyday boring lives carries on whilst all this horrible stuff is going on in the background with nasty horrible monsters that we know nothing about, and we can't really do anything to stop them in their big evil plans. And the true horror of Call of Cthulhu is like, yes, things being corrupt and tainted, mutations, people who've crossbred with monsters, fishmen, stuff like that, lizard men, snake people, all kinds of things. But the main horror is supposed to be the fact when the main character realizes oh my god, this is horrible and I can't do anything about it. And not only am I powerless in this situation, but as far as this evil, horrible monster, whichever one it is, it could be this one, it could be that one, is concerned, I don't even exist. I don't matter. I'm completely insignificant. I don't even pose a threat. Whatever I do isn't going to change its grand schemes at all, and it never even considered my existence as a part of them. And that's supposed to be the scary moment of hopelessness, of just feeling doomed and crushed completely. And of course I also knew that everyone in Call of Cthulu either dies or goes mad. And apparently it's been such a popular setting ever since H.P. Lovecraft started writing this stuff. Actually, there's someone who wrote one or two things before him, but he then co-opted into it, wasn't it? But the whole thing has become so popular, and lots of Cthulhu games were made in the 80s, and some in the 90s, and then it kind of all went quiet in the early 2000s, and then recently there's been a vast explosion of Cthulhu games. When I mentioned this to a friend who's a big Cthulhu fan, he told me that the copyright has lapsed on the Cthulhu mythos, and it's now public domain, and that's why so many games designers are using it. Anyway, this is a lovely Call of Cthulhu game set in a city, the city of Arkham, which doesn't exist unless you're a Call of Cthulhu fan or a Batman fan, I think. And it's been dragged into some other horrible dimension. And I played Planescape Torment back in the day, and I enjoyed it quite a lot, and I understand this game has some similarities in the regard of being in some weird extra-dimensional space where odd stuff's going on, and the way that conversations and interactions of NPCs are structured, so that should be fun. Now, I've talked for quite a bit, so let's get into this. Now, I'm going to do this to show something. Select pre-made character. Harry Powell, soldier. Helen Powell, soldier. And none of these numbers change. The only word that changes on the side would be adult male changes to adult female. And then we have the performer, an actor, that should be an actress. But again, everything's the same. So these are basically copycat characters. You know, I can choose this one, and the feminine counterpart will be exactly the same. Now, that is interesting because when I see numbers rated from like 1 to 7, I'm like, look, yeah, there are differences between men and women, but they're not necessarily big enough to warrant a 1 in 7 difference, right? If it was like a 1 in 30 or 1 in 40 difference, maybe. But essentially, statistically, in terms of the gameplay and the scale we're looking at, the changes are small enough to not really matter. That being said, while the changes aren't going to make a difference to these stats, actually having conversations with people with a 1920s mindset, there will be significant differences to how they approach a male or female character, right? So now that I've got that out of the way, just shown off how these are basically the same, you know, I'm now going to go and actually make a character of my own. I clicked on it and it's not working. There we go. Alright, gender selection. We can be a boy character or a girl character. Actually, they're a bit more grown up than that, so a man or a woman. I don't know. Now, let's have a little think about this. The other Call of Cthulhu game had a distinct preset male character who was an alcoholic ex-military detective. Not a very good detective necessarily, who, due to his alcoholism and sleeping pill abuse, would frequently question the insane realities that he witnessed. So that was definitely having to play a man character. We could play a woman character. I'd kind of like to see the portraits before I make my decision, to be honest, and I've seen the pre-gen portraits. So I have in mind, and I presume I can go back and forth. Ooh, age. Young, adult, or older. I'll stick with adult for now. Is of the age at which your character begins. Oh yes, so going back to here for a moment. The horrors of Stygian do not discriminate based on your character's gender. However, gender does play a role in some events and dialogues, opening up different role-playing opportunities. Yeah, the monsters don't give a toss if we're a boy or a girl. The people, the actual humans on the other hand, do. So we'll go for the medium age. And we have archetypes. Now these are similar to a character class, but they're not exactly. And each appears to have a background option of a few different ones. So, the academic is used to be a research scientist at Miskatonic University. Also, Miskatonic University doesn't exist. That's a Call of Cthulu thing, and possibly a Batman thing as well. Sent on a remote expedition to a foreign land, he had no warning of doom, patiently awaiting beneath the frigid wastes. Medicine, psychology, and science skills can be improved to a maximum level. Requires a minimum score of 6 in mind. Background scientist, no particular advantages or disadvantages. Researcher, fast scientific and medical research, -1 physical defense. Blimey. Psychiatrist, -1 supernatural defense. But oh, that's interesting. So having greater powers to understand psychology, but also weaknesses to it. Like, oh yes, I understand what I'm seeing. I should be scared now. Oh, I understand it. You know, and a physician, of course, a doctor. Okay, -1 melee attack, -1 range attack, of course. We have the aristocrat, of course. We have patrician, prodigal, of course, the prodigal returns. Cursed bloodline, bankrupt royalty. Starts with less cigarettes. Okay. In this game, I understand cigarettes are used for finance. I should also fully disclose, I've watched 1 or 2 episodes of someone else's Let's Play. I don't think they continued very far with the game, but I did see 1 or 2 things I should probably try and avoid early on. We have the criminal. Big thumbprint here. Gangster, thief, hitman, or con artist. Okay. We have the explorer. The great white hunter is big game hunter. There we go, yes. The investigator. Some kind of detective, occult detective, former policeman, or bounty hunter. I think I know where I'm going with this already. Okay, so with the occultist, secret society, mesmerist, so that'd be hypnotism, depraved occultist, or the alchemist. Okay, we have the performer. I think I'm going to perform and play an actor. Not a movie actor, no, an actual actor who performed upon a stage. And then we have the soldier, who could be a captain, military intelligence, so that would be a spy. You'd think spy would be under investigator or something. Marine, so that's like SAS, but for the Americans, and a bouncer. So an ex-military bouncer? Yes, an ex-military. After leaving the service, you took a job as a bouncer. So, performer, we're going with actor. Athletics, speechcraft, and stealth skills can be improved for maximum level and requires a minimum score of 6 in presence. So, one of the lasting memories of Call of Cthulu stuff from White Dwarf, in addition to like a list of extra phobias that really do exist, yes, there's scotophobia, which is something like a fear of chickens. There was a fear of beards in there. No one should be afraid of beards. Beards are awesome. You'd be like one of those idiots who's scared of clowns and think clowns are scary. Clowns aren't scary. Clowns are funny. Deal with it. only because one annoying person called Stephen King wrote a book about clowns being scary. Everyone suddenly then decided it was fashionable to be scared of clowns. A fear no one had expressed or talked about before that book was published. And at no point was anyone saying, oh, I'm so glad he's written that book so we can now talk about it. No, they just all suddenly started saying, oh yeah, clowns are scary, we're really scared of them now. It's like, really? You've been brainwashed, you idiots. Right. So, although, that being said, it has been claimed that the white makeup of the clown, with the dark around the, with the sort of red nose, the dark around the eyes and the mouth, is supposed to actually resemble a skull. So they are supposed to appear dead. Anyway, yes, we're playing an actor. So one of the articles Games Workshop would put out in White Dwarf occasionally would be extra careers for Call of Cthulhu. And one of those extra articles had like careers like a driver, you know, like a chauffeur, and one of the careers there was actor manager, as in Kenneth Branagh, basically. You know, the guy who wrote the theme tune, sing the theme tune. No, you know, the chap who not only runs the theatre company but also is the main star on stage. So let's see, we have a belief system. Humanistic. Throughout history, mankind has survived countless threats. If we stop wringing our hands and start cooperating, we will live to see the human spirit prevail once more. Extra sanity can be gained by selecting humanistic dialogue choices and committing acts of altruism. This is the kind-hearted, let's hold a stupid gun in the air and shout while a crowd cheers for us. And we're rock stars. One. Materialistic. If we're all doomed, let's make our final days worthwhile. Wealth, lust, power, pursue whatever eases your pain. Extra sanity can be gained by selecting materialistic dialogue choices through material gain and acts of self-indulgence. Basically, be an absolute bastard. Don't think I'm going to go with that one somehow. Nihilistic. At last! There is no doubt that human beings are of no significance in the cold machinations of the cosmos. Thus, every action is of equal importance and worthlessness, just as it has always been. Extra sanity can be gained by nihilistic dialogue choices. A nihilist cannot gain sanity through their actions, but begins the game with higher mental resistance. I don't really get the appeal of nihilism very much. It doesn't really do it for me. I understand some people get to a point where they say, look, this is such a bad state, we have to tear it all down, but to say that for the entirety of our existence completely, yeah, that's kind of a bit daft. Divine. The Black Day is God's final test of humanity. We failed him once, but he has given us this last chance of redemption. Those who are alive survive this for a reason, to prove that mankind is not without hope. Extra sanity we gain from selecting faithful dialogue choices and through acts of divine worship. I think I'd like to go for this, and I'll explain why. It's because the majority of the people are going to be these scientifically minded. That is, they only believe in what they see. This is 1920s we're talking, right? So, yeah, science was a pretty big thing, and people were obsessed with it, to the point where they were casting aside their spirituality. And to then, at that point in their history, be assailed by vast spiritual, great god, monster, demon things from other dimensions they knew nothing about, would easily shatter that scientific mind. Whereas the mind of the faith, while many of you watching this video may be screaming, where is your God now? It's like, we still have our faith. It is pure. It has not been shattered. Yes, these are some kind of devils or demons. They're not mentioned in the Bible or whatever kind of religion we have. But our religion is still strong with us. It would be a way of showing some kind of strength, resilience against the darkness. So they decided to call this one rational instead of scientific, or extremely narrow-minded and unimaginative, as we should probably call them. No matter how unusual or baffling, no phenomenon is beyond the boundaries of science and rational thought. There has to be an explanation. What must be done is to search and find it. Extra sanity can be gained by selecting rational dialogue choices, and through scientific and medical research, science or medicine skills recommended. And then finally we have esoteric, which actually would also be quite a good one to take, in theory, although as a member of an acting company, while they may be interested in this kind of knowledge, it may not be readily available to them. When supernatural becomes natural, the only path is to embrace the knowledge of the ancient forces behind the veil. We must tap into the hidden arts and realize our potential in order to survive and eventually dominate. Oh, that sounds bad. See, this was really good until you got to and eventually dominate. Look, you don't... No, this isn't about domination. It should be about humility and surviving, not arrogance and surviving, right? Because, again, grand scheme of things, humans in this game, pretty insignificant. Big nasty monsters, tentacles coming around the edge of the blooming pop-up thing here, you know. Pretty important and significant. So, wrong attitude to take, Sonny Jim. Extra sanity can be gained by selecting esoteric dialogue choices and through occult research. Occult skill recommended. So this would be a very interesting one to play through for like a second playthrough, or third playthrough or something. But I am going to go with religion, because it's an unusual one to take, given the setting. Although it could be said the character was driven to his faith by the entire city being wrenched into another dimension. And now we have some portraits. We will not call him Louis Theobald. Now, so slightly chubby-faced. Oh god, not Danny Dyer, but the bloke who I know exactly who I'm thinking of, and it's because of that upper lip. But I can't remember his name. Damn it, Mr. Scary Greyskin Angular. Ooh, interesting. We're going for middle-aged, so I'm not excited. This chap looks a little bit older, but would make for an excellent, interesting actor. Fancy man indeed. He's definitely into some kind of, probably like an aristocrat or something. He looks a little bit like a skinny Hancock. I don't know. The feather in the cap does add a bit of flair, but maybe more for a journalist than an actor. So he's looking through wooden boards or blind or something? I like his beard, but his hair's short. So, the beard should be shorter than the hair unless there's no hair, otherwise it just looks wrong. Hatchet face. He's related to H.P. Lovecraft, although his head isn't skinny enough. Interesting. It's like a... I want to say Middle Eastern looking slightly Chinese fellow. Man with glasses who looks evil. No thank you. Man with hat perched improperly atop his head who just looks wrong. Man who looks too cynical. Elderly gentleman. We have a... Okay. Man with glasses. And now I think we're hitting the pre-gents. Man whose beard is a different colour to his hair. Chap who's wrapped up for a warm expedition. Overly skinny gentleman. Don't like you at all. He looks like an illustration from some of the Golden Dragon game books from the 1980s. It's the angle of the jaw, the chin, the nose. If the head was slightly different shape, very similar. I don't mean a specific, I mean the kind of style of illustration. Are those teeth? Is his top lip like cleft palate, kind of like a cat? What? That looks just wrong. It's weird, like a mutant. Bloke who is really looking nervously sideways, or guy who looks like he's an Indiana Jones, Dick Tracy kind of bloke who's really kind of boring and eyes looking in different directions. Okay. So I think we're going to go with this fellow. And we are going to call him Jeremiah Spoonfrop. Because an actor should have a memorable name. Alright. So we have our required 6 in presence. So let's take a little look at these. Obviously these are all derived and are going to change as things happen. So, physique. Determines your character's general physical prowess and is frequently used with melee and survival skills. So survival could be things like climbing, foraging for food, things like that. It might be with it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we could drop 1 into each of these, bringing these up to a 5. Then we'd have 2 points left to either raise that 6 to a 7 and another one to a 6. or have like a few 6s. We could do a lot of things here. Can we take them down? We can take them down. We shouldn't take them down. But these are probably minimums, the lowest we should consider. Right. Agility... Oh, wait. Yeah, so it's actually showing me with colours on the right what things are being affected. Determines the extent of your character's overall... Dexteriousness is not a word. The word should be dexterousness, or dexterity. Determines the extent of your character's overall dexterousness and is frequently used with athletics, firearms, melee, subterfuge, and stealth. These are skills that we are supposedly good at. Senses determines your character's overall perceptiveness of the outside world and is frequently used with firearms, investigation, stealth, and survival skills. So we have 2 boosting stealth here. We're going to want strength. We can pop that in there for now, momentarily. Mind. Okay. So athletics will be agility. And we're going to want presence for speechcraft. Got it, okay. So, determines the character's intellectual accumulation as well as cognitive faculties, and is frequently used with medicine, occult, psychology, and science skills. Well, he does have to use his mind a lot, memorizing all those lines and having them rattling around in his head. So we have physique, because he might have to do some stunts, or climbing up things, you know. We have agility, again, for stage stunts, maybe even some acrobatics. Senses, always good when you're backstage to be able to hear what's going on stage. Remember, we're not talking loads of microphones and speakers here at this point. We're talking 1920s, so there might be some of that, but not very much. Mind, again, has to be able to work things out. And then will is the attribute of exercising self-control as well as utilizing spiritual power, and is frequently used with occult and survival skills. Now, as an actor in the 1920s, he is going to have a reputation for being rather loose-willed and easygoing, and as such this may be considered one of his lowest ability scores if we're going with a archetypal stereotype. But I think having a 5 in at least everything is good. Now, with 2 remaining points. Now, there is no way of knowing if we're ever going to get any more attribute points at all during the course of the game. Obviously, he needs the gift of the gab. Presence determines your character's attractiveness, charisma, as well as... Okay, the fact that you went with as well as, meant it should be your character's attractiveness and charisma as well as. Because when you have a list of commas, the last one is separated by an and. But going with as well as means that personal charm is not the last in the list and charisma is. As well as personal charm is frequently used with a speechcraft skill. In fact, it does not appear to be used with anything else whatsoever. So, because we do not know if we're going to get any more, we will drop will down to a 4. This is dangerous. Can we go with 8? We can have an 8. Ooh, can we have a 9? We can't. We do not probably want a 9. We probably want a couple of 6s here. So, 6 in senses. Wait, stealth. Agility, I think. And agility. Alright, yes. Let's go with those. Now, we have 5 skill points, and we have 3 skills that can be increased to maximum level. So, athletics is the skill that enables characters to move gracefully, dodge attacks, and perform athletic maneuvers. Affects throwing and physical defense. You know, I'll pop a point in there. Firearms is the skill of operating all kinds of firearms, from pistols to machine guns and everything in between. Affects ranged attack. Now, while the actor may have used stage props to simulate gunfire, I'm not sure that he's actually fired many guns in his lifetime. And because there are only 4 skill points left, I'm going to come back to this one later if I've got something spare, but it's not going to be a high priority just yet. As the adventure develops, that may change significantly. Investigation is the skill of observance, deduction, and clue hunting. Locating hidden objects and finding subtle connections. Affects sense threat and spot and detect. Yes, we'll put a point in that. Absolutely. Medicine is the skill of preparing remedies, performing medical operations, and the general study of plants and pharmaceuticals. Affects medical research. Now, while this acting troupe may have been on the road for some time, I'm not sure that he's become an expert with dealing with medical ailments. From a portrait, I'm not really sure he's the type. So I'm going to hold off on that one again and see if I get points left, because I'm going to want to put 2 points here, which only gives me 1 left. Melee is the skill of hand-to-hand fighting and handling melee weapons. Affects melee attack. You know, he probably has handled a fair bit of stage combat, but it's been show combat. So while he'll have a pretty good idea of how to handle a weapon, he won't necessarily be eager or willing to do so with the full force required to deal significant damage. And the techniques he would use would be intended more for show and for an audience to see from a distance. I would say that he could give the impression he knows how to use a weapon from the way he holds it, and could then use that to intimidate somebody, but again, skill points are fairly low at the moment. Occult is the skill of comprehending the unknown and grasping the knowledge of the mythos. Affects spellcraft and occult research. As there does not appear to be a religion skill, this may be a good one to go for. However, I do see psychology here. Psychology is the skill of sensing the motives of others, conducting mental therapies, and studying neurotic phenomena. Affects mental resistance. As a reasonably good actor, I would hope he has good skills of empathy and understanding people. Science is the skill of understanding the material world, making inventions, and grasping the principles of scientific facts in this world and the next. Affects scientific research. It would also be beneficial if we had taken the scientific approach, which we're not doing this time around. Speechcraft is the skill of influencing others with words, navigating wisely through the heated debate, and mastering the art of the demagogue. Speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounce it to you, trippingly on the tongue, for if you mouth it, as many of our players do, I'd as life the town crier spoke my lines. That's Hamlet addressing the player king, as the actors are about to put on their show for a number of members of the Danish royal family whose names all sound really Italian and not very Danish at all. Right, yeah, we'll put a point in there as an actor. I mean, that's just only reasonable, right? Can we put 2 in? Oh, we can. Interesting, so there's no limits. Stealth is the skill of dispersing into the shadows, fading from the eyes and ears of would-be detectors. Affects stealth value, absolutely. Subterfuge is the skill of dirty tricks, legerdemain. It's not legerdemain because it's main, as in the French for left hand. Legerdemain, it's the art of sleight of hand. Lockpicking and muggery. Yeah, not mugging, muggery. And that doesn't mean pulling silly faces. Survival is the skill of self-reliance, endurance, and the knowledge of making ends meet with minimal resources. Affects damage resistance. Oh yeah, that reminds me, there's subtitles in this game, I should... Oh well. Jeremiah Spoonfrop. Actor. Adult male. Religious actor, gentlemen. He is healthy, he is sane. Let us go on. Venturing into the attic. The suffering you must endure in the course of your journey will burden you with angst points. When you eventually gain an angst level, you will have to choose a defect representing your character's personality flaws. That's very interesting. The doom that came to Arkham. The town is stuck between strange dimensions. Stuck between strange dimensions. You wouldn't want to be struck between strange dimensions. That could be rather painful. May 25 cents, Stygian Tales. I see this eye-like radiance pulsing in the centre of this five-pointed, starfish-like rotating monstrosity. And in we go. A year has passed since your encounter with that peculiar fellow, known as the Dismal Man. When last you met, he instructed you, "Find me beyond Arkham, after the Black Day." At the time, those words did not mean much to you, but soon after, you came to understand. On what is now known as the Black Day, under the shadow of the Awakened, the world you knew vanished, and with it your hopes, future, and loved ones. For reasons unknown, the city of Arkham was separated from the carcass of Earth, and exiled to another plane where blackness covers the words so I can't bloody read them at a reasonable pace. Unlike many others, you survived, body and mind most intact. Ever since you have existed from day to day in the grey gloom of the old eel house, waiting for that enigmatic man to call. A man whose very existence you are now beginning to question. Unlike things which disappear before you can read them. Why do stupid subtitle people always do that and make them too short? Well, that's a pretty freaky man. He's got a very strange blue fuzzy head. Like a static screen. We are awake. Journal updated. Updated my journal. Character, inventory, grimoire, stealth. Journal. Aha. Footsteps of a Dismal Man. Find the Dismal Man. Fair enough. A year ago I met a mysterious gentleman. I can recall little about him but his name. The Dismal Man. That's not a name, that's just a description. He knew about the Black Day and also the fact that I'd be in Arkham. He told me to find him. Who is he? Does he have answers? We have case notes and general notes. 2 lamps in the darkness. Follow the Dismal Man into the streets of Arkham. So we have find the Dismal Man and follow the Dismal Man. I awoke in the attic of the old eel house to the light of the Dismal Man's lantern. It seems he wants me to follow him. We have map, grimoire. Okay. So then that would be the map. This would be options. Settings. Show video subtitles. I don't know if you guys want this very much or not, because as I understand, all the text in this game is going to be like written anyway. Show documents as text. Nah, I'll just read stuff. I've got eyes, right? That'll work. Skip intro video? No, absolutely not. I mean, I managed to get it in everything. Lots of key bindings. And yes, I have an unusual screen resolution. It's 1360 by 768. Which apparently means it's only by 720 as far as YouTube is concerned. Don't ask me why, it's just weird that way. Right. C for character, I for inventory, G for grimoire. Not a K or a B, for like B for spellbook, K for knowledge. M for map, J for general. So these are like literally the, you know, what the words start with, rather than like WASD or all that nonsense. S for sneaky, R for reload, W for swap, because we've already had S for sneaky, so it's swap, going to the second letter of the word. D for defend, F for focus, and hopefully there will be like buttons on screen to do these things anyway. Okay. I stumble about in the darkness. There's a lantern over there. Don't worry, I'm going to go pick it up. So I can hopefully see what I'm doing a little bit better. I have stolen a lantern. We have an empty petrol canister. Well, kerosene. We have a kerosene canister. Empty kerosene canister. Why is it a completely different shape when it's full? Is it the angle it's viewed from? Like that's a little spout. And a lantern. Illuminates a small area of the house. It requires a tin of kerosene to function. Well, guess what? We can double click that. Oh no, just single, that'll do. It appears to be lit already. That is grand. There's a chest. It is locked. Do we have some sneaky peeky peeky peeky? Lockpicking? Nah, not gonna happen. We clearly do not have such a skill. And obviously we're supposed to walk down these stairs, but hey, there was something here. Was it just for movement flash on the ground? It was. Shame. Let's go down the stairs then. His stick taps on the ground. It appears to have like vertebra or something, which is very interesting. We follow in a dreamlike haze, uncertain what is going. The cook is dead, only serving cans. And we don't mean the film festival. He's very insistent, but we should go look at this. This is a Cthulhu thing if ever I saw one, right? It looks like some kind of edifice or crappy, badly made statue. And we appear to have reached the edge of the screen with some footprints to click on. So let's click on those. Tap, tap, tap. His stick will go. What did I say? Haha. Let's follow. He taps impatiently and suddenly there are all these people. Apparitions. And they're dancing together. Isn't that nice? Except some of them appear to have skulls for heads. Some of the gentlemen and some of the ladies. And they appear to be appearing somewhat randomly. And they appear to be murdering each other. He stopped here on that particular stone. He walks towards the doorway. And all goes white. After which, we awaken back in the room. Sanity lost, 15 horror witnessed. Yeah, no kidding. Also, I see 3 portraits here, so I imagine companion characters may be a distinct thing. Journal updated. At the gates of Miskatonic. Inspect the entrance to Miskatonic University. The last spot I saw the dismal man in my dreams was by the gates of the Miskatonic University. Perhaps I should take a closer look. We have a map here, lots of nice things. French Hill, Main Street, Miskatonic University. All the trees dead. Follow him. He knows. Picture of a man in my dreams. Miskatonic River. Never go there. I see monster tentacle things of doom. Beware of the red boats. So there may be some non-red boats which are safe. So that's Arkham map. We cannot move around here, so hopefully Morbid flippin' heck, look at the size of this thing. That is insane. Downton map, well, downtown, not Downton. Downton is different. Oddly enough, I've been to a Downton, but not the one many people are aware of necessarily. The grimoire, all spells, rituals, yeah, we have nothing here. That's all fine. Inventory is pretty empty at this point. Yep. So I presume that's going to be like health, blue points, sanity, 30 out of 45. No armor points, AP, action points or armor points. Probably action points. And we can't click on these other portraits yet. Okay. And character sheet, here we go. Shows experience points for character accumulated so far, secondary stats, attributes. So again, we don't know when we're going to get any more of these. Character is healthy, but no longer sane, I see. We have no points of angst. No experience points, 100 to level. Okay. We can press F1 to learn the controls. Fortunately, they were on the options thing. I'm going to go here and go, oh, there was a lantern here. Now I'm mad because it's gone. These decayed fragments of furniture betray the craftsmanship of talented carpenters. How heartbreaking to see their fine work reduced to a pile of scrap. Indeed. In the gaps between the encroaching vein... root. That's not how you spell vine. This grimy window offers a glimpse of the dark, dismal street below. It's not locked anymore. Well, look at that. We have things that we can't really see details on, so we're just going to take everything and go look at it all in one go. We have a few cigarettes. Apparently 200 is a few. Cigarettes is the new monetary unit of this pestilent reality. So, just like in prison, but with less bum sex, probably. A blank notebook. It might not remain blank very long. We may indeed fill it over time. Actors Guild Certificate. This certificate warrants you as a professional in the stage acting community. Can we equip it? We could drop it. No, let's not do that. It may come in very useful. I can't. Okay. A tuxedo. A fancy man's suit. Apparently these are really, like, they command a lot of respect, so sure, let's put it on. A Schutz full stop after a gap 22 revolver. So it's a pistol. Actually, it's a revolver because it's got a revolving chamber. I know that. A small light revolver offering moderate firepower within short distances. I'm glad I'd been informed of that, because otherwise I just go, it's a gun, right? It's a gun you shoot things with your hand. I don't think it would be wise to equip a gun in this building, because people might take offense. Now, we can put it there. We can put it here? No, we can put it there. We can put it away again. We can put it away again. And is there a place we would store the bullets? Or are they just going to be... Because I know we have to manually reload, but that's one thing, is there a place we put them. Powdered cocaine. A box containing powdered cocaine in salt form. Again, 1920s, cocaine was considered to be not a big problem, you know. And a shot of laudanum. An analgesic needle that relieves mental and physical pain. And apparently makes it easier for people to go to sleep. And they get addicted to it. I like the fact that his moustache actually matches his portrait here. I wonder if the actual portrait's linked directly to the character model. And if I'd chosen a character model without a moustache, he would have no moustache. And if I chose one with a beard, he would have a beard. I do not believe that he has this suit because he has a suit in the portrait. I believe that's more to do with the performer origin. Reggie's Whiskey. A standard quality witch tea, mass-produced before the Black Day. In that case, we're hanging on to this as it's a commodity item that can probably be used to influence someone in the future. Rations. Preserved, ready-to-eat food. It's a meal in a can. Now, the original tin cans of food were actually invented by Napoleon, and they weren't cylindrical. They were flat, disc-shaped, a bit like the cans you'd see old movie rolls in. You know, it was like a foot across, flat disc, and you'd like lever the lid off and eat the food out of it. Yeah, weird. Camping supplies. A complete kit of camping supplies for outdoors living, so that means there may be outdoors exploration outside the city at some point. And a bottle of clean water, a bottle of safe drinking water. Who knows how long it'll be before we find some more. And that's all we have. Let's head down the stairs. Wait. Anything else to click on? Doesn't look like it. We'll get back in the bed. We can't get back in the bed. That's a shame. Can we turn off the running and actually walk? Because that's realistic and you only run when you really need to get somewhere desperately or when you're scared or being chased. Hello. He's too busy playing. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm not interested. If you'll excuse me. Yeah, they're kind of engrossed in their own... Okay, so no scrolling around in this particular room. The cook is still dead and they are still only serving cans. Chap here at the bar. And the barman. Let's say hello. You see Marino, the manager and bartender of the Old Eel. He's been your host for almost a year now, charging in exchange for the last of your precious resources. He has a tendency to suck you dry whenever he gets the opportunity, and he also has an impossibly thin head that cannot contain a human skull and a brain, especially when compared to the girth of his neck. Good morning, Cornuto. If you can call this never-ending fucking twilight morning, that was all but hurly-burly upstairs. What was all that hurly-burly upstairs? Bad dreams? That might be a rational response. There's nothing else to say. You could say that, my friend. Why am I not surprised? I recommend hitting the bottle before going to sleep. Makes things easier. Since you are awake, let's talk about the cigs you owe me. You were too drunk to pay yesterday and told me to remind you later. Remember? I didn't drink yesterday, Marino. His trick is getting old, Marino. Really? Did I drink that much? How much? Oh, yeah. Well, but I don't see any bruises on myself, and if I'm unhurt, I must have paid the bill. Ha ha! He seems dispirited by your argument. I am not in mood for a pissing contest. I'll have all your cigs eventually. Later, Cornuto. Just one, Cornuto. Give it to me. It's a shame he's not playing a cornet, because then we could make the joke even more. Anyway, hello, Mr. Smoking Man. You are not the man from the X-Files, we can tell, because you're wearing a hat, and you don't seem to have cancer. And because it's actually not pitch black dark in here. If you'll excuse me. Well, he's really interested, isn't he? Hello, are these people going to ignore me as well? Hey, we're in the middle of a conversation here, mister. I don't have time for this. This man, he's playing darts. Badly. With himself. Let's say hello. You see an eccentric middle-aged man completely focused on a darts game. He alone is playing. Exultation all but radiates from this odd fellow. And he almost looks like if you squashed Ian Holmes' head in a vice so that his jaw got really slanty and his chin stuck out. Care for a game of cricket? I don't. You don't get a chance to play against the world champion every day. He passes several of his darts to you. The world champion, you say? Of course. Surprised? You have any idea what happened to the rest of the world? Knock knock. Anybody there? No one? Good riddance. He throws a dart. It was a big pain in the butt anyway. Okay, so he's got a ton of nervous stammer. Maybe a little unhinged. Here there is only one champion. Herschel, the master of the darts. He throws another dart at the board. This makes me the world darts champion. Ready for a game now? Is there a prize? Prize? Nothing can come close to the thrill of the darts. Tobacco? Rubbish. But feeling the texture of the stem in your hand, the steel point savagely penetrating the board, it's priceless. And the prize would be? You want cigarettes? Beat me then. Beat the world champion, you'll have more cigarettes than you could ever want. You see, I was a travelling salesman for Tom Rogers cigarettes. Before I found my true self and became the champion. Damn these days. Herschel, go to Maine. Go to Boston, Herschel. Herschel, your sales performance is getting lower. We're disappointed, Herschel. I see. Where are they now? Dissatisfied bastards! He throws a dart. The old Herschel is gone with them. Throws another one. There is only the champion now! Another one! The champion! Is he a football fan now? You know, we do have psychology. Is this a huge risk? I don't know, let's find out. It seems you somehow transferred the frustrations of your past into the game of darts. I don't think he... Look, the fact that it's a skill check means there's likely to be some kind of positive result from succeeding at this check, and is a possible trap to lead me into thinking this is a skill check worth attempting. It might be worth circling back to these. It would be nice to know who he is, but I think we know he's Herschel by now. We could play, but nah. You know what? Sod it. But what? I discovered my untrue purpose in darts. The grand game that the leprechauns taught us back in the old world. You talk nonsense. You feel that you've been meddling with his mental balance. The game is perhaps just a medium for you to escape from reality. That would be a very scientific thing to say, and as a religious fellow, that's probably not the wisest choice. There's actually no vital importance in winning or losing a game of darts. It's just simple pastime. That'd piss him off. You know what? Let's play. Now you're talking! He starts to tell a tale about the rules of the game, with rather too much enthusiasm. And we get to test our skill with a athletics roll. And the last round. What? Herschel looks as if he's stripped from all purpose. Glancing at his expressionless eyes, oh look, he's crying. You feel like you're gazing right into the abyss. He starts to talk slowly. Cheater! I think you'll find I didn't cheat. I'm not going to rub it in his face and say he's lost. I'm not going to stay silent because that'll feed his delusion. I'm not going to ask for my prize. I'll just say, you know, I didn't cheat. Cheater! Oh, come on now. It seems I'm the new world champion. No, I'm not going to do that. Don't be a spoil sport. I won. I'll say, oh no, come on. Don't be like that now. A bad loser accuses it well. Cheater! 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 With each repetition, his speech starts to sound less and less rational until it turns into a frenzied howl. Exit dialogue. Cheater! And then he skips out and kisses a dart and chucks it at us. And then he goes completely mental and drops something before walking out of the door. And we got Tom Rogers cigarettes. 240 now. Okay, well that was an interesting development. Did we get some... We got 25 experience points and no angst. We're not showing healthy anymore. 43 of 48. That dart did 5 damage. Which in turn means that like 9.5 darts would kill us. That's a pretty dangerous... Oh, it was like a dart to the chest. So it could depend on where it struck. Let's head outside. If I only had more cigs. This bloke's got a long rounder's bat, so I presume that's a baseball bat. Got a chap here, a chap there. Let's not mess with him, he could be trouble. There's that Cthulhu statue again. This towering depiction of one of the elder gods perches atop the naked base of a shattered statue. Well, there are plenty of people out here. If we follow the old man, the dismal man, just head in this direction. She's smoking in public, unaccompanied. I suppose all sense of public decorum has gone out the window. She's probably a woman of ill repute. Let's not bother her just yet. We ate our rations already? For just walking outside a little bit? Damn. They aren't going to last very long then. Best deals on guns. Honest Bill's Pawn Shop. So, Honest Pawn Bill's Shop. You know me. I see the paint of the plaster has been pulled off to show teeth, like the bricks make up his teeth. Here's a horrible mess of bins and a few cigarettes. We'll take it. Bloke with a gun, bloke with a baseball bat. Let's not mess with them. All these people are essentially dead, the vision showed us. Hello. You see a typical Arkham resident, tired and decrepit looking. She looks at you uneasily. Good day, madam. My name is Jeremiah Spoonfrop. Well, that scared her. Good day? Where have you been living? Does it look like a good day to you? Oh no, you're one of those. She goes white with fear. A raving lunatic! She starts to move away in panic. Excuse me? Nope, she's legging it. What's the ache in my legs? Okay, so this stone is where the gentleman stopped. And there's a blatant glint here from key number nothing on the ground, which we apparently are supposed to pick up. This is happening again. The lurker below. Crack open the ground, it will. That was a close one. Okay, I'm going to pick that up and hope nothing bursts out of the ground to kill us. This is clearly all tumbled down and destroyed. The iconic gates of the institution of higher learning lie in ruins. The way impassable for now, although it did get its experience points. Let's start heading backwards. Okay, that got us experience. We're getting closer to a level. But for now, I think I've been playing for 3/4 of an hour, almost an hour. I should probably stop the episode here. So, I'm going to say, I've been Raphael Perry. This has been Stygian, Reign of the Old Ones. I hope you've all enjoyed this episode, and I'll look forward to see you all in the next one. I'll say bye-bye for now, and cheerio!